There is a very common kind of failure that almost everyone experiences, yet rarely understands. You read a glowing review of a book. People say it changed the way they think. It helped them see life differently. You feel excited. You search for it, order it, maybe even imagine yourself finishing it in just a few days. The first chapters are genuinely engaging. The ideas feel fresh. You feel smart for reading it. And then, without any dramatic decision, you stop. Days pass, then weeks, when you finally notice you have read only 20 pages. The book didn't become worse. You didn't suddenly hate reading. You simply drifted away. Or maybe you decide to learn a new skill. Drawing, for example. At first, you watch tutorials. You buy pencils and paper. You sit down and try. You draw an apple, then a cup. Both look awkward and distorted. You try a few more times, then slowly you stop opening the sketchbook. Not because you dislike drawing, but because the excitement quietly disappeared. Or maybe the most familiar situation of all. You wake up determined to finish an important task in the morning. You tell yourself you'll focus for a few hours and make real progress. But when you look at the clock at noon, you realize most of the morning is gone. A bit of scrolling, a few short videos, some meaningless distractions, and the work you plan to do is maybe 20% finished. What's unsettling is that you don't know how this happened. You didn't consciously choose to waste time. It just happened. We usually explain this with familiar words: laziness, lack of discipline, poor focus. Sometimes we go further and assume something is wrong with us, but these explanations miss a crucial point. Your brain was never designed to love long-term stability. To understand why, we need to talk about dopamine and what it actually does. Dopamine is not the chemical of happiness. It is not what makes you feel calm or satisfied. Dopamine is the chemical of anticipation, motivation, and pursuit. It spikes when your brain predicts that something rewarding is about to happen. Dopamine doesn't rise when you achieve a goal. It rises when your brain believes you are moving toward one. This made perfect sense in our evolutionary past. Humans evolved in environments full of uncertainty. Food was not guaranteed. Danger was constant. Survival depended on noticing changes, seeking opportunities, and responding to novelty. A brain that paid attention to new signals had a better chance of keeping its owner alive. Dopamine became the reward system for detecting progress and possibility. That's why when you read a book review, dopamine rises. Your brain imagines future benefits. When you buy the book, dopamine stays high. When you start reading, the novelty keeps it going. But eventually, the information becomes familiar. The surprise fades. Dopamine drops. And when dopamine drops, your brain doesn't say, "This is still good for you." It says, "This is no longer worth the energy." The same thing happens when learning a new skill. Early excitement is fueled by novelty, but practice is repetitive. Improvement is slow. The brain stops receiving clear signals of progress, and motivation quietly shuts down. This is not impatience, it is biology. The problem becomes even clearer with modern work. Tasks that require sustained mental effort usually offer delayed rewards. Your brain must invest energy now for a payoff that is abstract and far away. Meanwhile, social media and short videos offer instant dopamine, fast, intense, and effortless. Your brain does not evaluate what is meaningful, it reacts to what is immediate. So when meaningful work provides low dopamine and distractions provide high dopamine, the outcome is almost inevitable. Here is the deeper problem. When life becomes stable, when survival pressure decreases, the brain loses clear signals of progress, and a brain that cannot detect progress begins to search for stimulation, even if that stimulation is empty or destructive. This is why people often feel restless when life is going well, not because something is wrong, but because their brain is understimulated. So what is the solution? The answer is not more discipline. The answer is not forcing yourself to love stability. The real question is this: why are there some tasks we do consistently, without motivation, without struggle? Think about cooking. Most people don't need discipline to cook a simple meal. They don't quit halfway through. Cooking takes time, it requires effort, but it has something modern work often lacks: immediate, visible, and enjoyable results. You cut vegetables and you see them cut. You cook the meal and you eat it. The brain doesn't need to imagine the reward. It experiences it directly. Gardening works the same way. Growing vegetables takes time, but progress is visible. Every day the plant changes, leaves grow, stems rise. The brain continuously receives signals that something is developing, and the work itself is naturally divided into small, manageable steps. Your brain is never starved of dopamine. Now compare that to reading a book, learning to draw, or completing a large project. The reward is distant, progress is invisible, the task feels endless. The solution then is not to change yourself, but to redesign your work so your brain experiences it like cooking or gardening. The first principle is simplicity. The brain resists vague goals. Learn to draw or be productive are too abstract. The brain responds better to concrete actions. Draw for 10 minutes, read 3 pages, write 200 words. Small actions feel safe, and when they end, the brain receives a clear signal of completion. The second principle is visible progress. Gardeners don't wait until harvest to feel rewarded. They notice growth every day. You must create the same effect for mental work. Break tasks into stages that clearly end. Each ending is a dopamine trigger. The third principle is immediate enjoyment of small results. The brain does not reward effort automatically. It needs to feel the result. Pausing to acknowledge completion, taking a brief pleasant break, or simply noticing "I finished this step" helps lock in dopamine. Over time, the brain learns a new pattern. This action leads to progress. Progress leads to reward. And once that loop exists, motivation becomes far less fragile. Your brain is not sabotaging you. It is loyal to a reward system that once kept humans alive. Modern life quietly removes the things your brain needs to stay engaged: clear progress, quick feedback, and small rewards along the way. So when you struggle to keep doing things that are good for you, reading, learning, practicing, building habits, it's not because you're lazy or lack discipline. It's because your brain is working inside a system that makes effort feel invisible and unrewarding. When you bring those missing pieces back by making tasks simpler, breaking them into shorter steps, and allowing yourself to feel progress more often, something changes. Taking action stops feeling like a constant struggle. Moving forward no longer requires forcing yourself every day. You don't need more willpower, and you don't need to blame yourself. You were never lazy. You just needed a way of working that gives your brain the feedback it understands. And when that happens, progress becomes something you can actually maintain. If you've ever felt like you keep giving up, remember, it's not laziness. It's just how your brain learned to respond to rewards. If this video helped you see that differently, leave a comment. And if there's a topic you want me to explore next, let me know below.